So I picked up a new kit, as you can see. I was going on a short Christmas run with a local artist here in Toronto that I play with, named Jacob Moon, and decided I was going to grab, it was a Christmas thing, so I decided to grab a new kit for the tour, something a little seasonal looking, and just decided to pimp it out with some stuff. But in the process, I had the opportunity to outfit the whole thing with new heads. So we went with the Onyx from Evans. The entire kit, top and bottom, as you can see. Full set of Onyx heads. I got an Onyx EMAD on the bass drum, and I even got a new Resonant head on the snare. So it was my first experience actually with these particular heads. I've heard a few things about them. I know a lot of gospel dudes are using them now, from gospel to metal to, I mean, it's right across the board. So I decided to give them a shot, first of all, because I thought it would look hot on a white kit, obviously. But yeah, I decided to give them a shot. Been playing on them for the last couple of months. And I'm gonna review each one for you. So if you're looking for a new set of heads, this might be a cool little review to help you out with. So on my Phoenix kit, on my toms, I'm using clear G14s. And the G14 is just a single ply of 14 mil skin. Whereas these are 2 plies, each 7.5. So these are a total of 15 mil, so they're thicker than a G2. So it took my ears a little bit of adjusting to these heads because I'm used to my toms sounding so open. Whereas these are very much more controlled. So first thing I noticed was a significant reduction in sustain. There's a bit of a reduction as well in volume. That's not a bad thing at all. It actually makes these heads ideal for low and medium type situations, small clubs, you know, churches, whatever. It's a very controlled skin. It's not going to sustain as long as some of the other single ply skins available, like the G12, the G14, or whatever, or the G1. So it took some adjusting to play these, but I've discovered that the more I played them, the more I sort of worked them in, the better they started sounding to me. And the other thing as well is that because these are so controlled, it makes them ideal for recording. These are great heads for the studio. So if you're looking for a set to record, these heads are designed in such a way that you don't need any muffling. And that's generally how I like to play all of my drums, as a matter of fact. I use as little to no muffling, you know, whenever possible. So, you know, after working these things in and my ears adjusting to the shorter sustain, these actually started to sound really, really great. And particularly when I started recording them and I just heard the regular playback just off the, you know, the raw mics, I was really impressed. You get a nice, round, full, open, controlled tone out of these. The snare head, it took me a little while to get this head to where I wanted it. For whatever reason, like, cause I've played the Onyx on snares before, and for whatever reason, it was just hard for me to get the sound that I wanted. You would think that for a thicker head, you know, it would be a lot quieter, but for whatever reason, I got a lot more ring on the onset. So I just took a little bit of fiddling around with it, you know, retuning it and, you know, playing it. But again, the more I started to play it, the more it started to work itself in, and eventually, you know, I ended up getting a really great sound out of my snare drum. So yeah, you can get a really cool sound out of this snare head. You just might have to fiddle with it a little bit, work it in a bit, do some playing on it, but eventually you end up with a really great snare sound. I was thoroughly impressed with the EMAD on the bass drum. This is an unbelievable sounding kick head. I put it on, it took me literally 30 seconds to tune this thing up, and really nice and full, but particularly on a recording, on the playback, because when you listen to the example that I recorded for you here, there's nothing in this shell. That's generally how I like to record my bass drums. It's completely empty. It comes with two rings, two muffle rings, you know, just like all the other EMADs. You get a thin one and you get a slightly thicker one. I got the thin one on there. The only thing I noticed is that after a couple of shows, the ring started coming loose on me, and I had to just keep sort of repositioning the thing. So I just basically just cut a bunch of little strips of duct tape, just little strips like that, and secured them all around, and just to keep the thing in place. But that's really not a huge deal. Once you get that thing on there, you're good to go. But this skin sounds amazing in a live setting. It sounds great on a recording as well. So no surprise there. Like all the other EMAD heads sound wicked. This, along with your logo head, it's going to sound good with any logo head that's on there, because most logo heads are basically the same thing anyway. But I can say truthfully that when I swapped the front head out, because I got a custom skin done for the kit, it was an inked by Evans head, and once I got that on there, the kick just came alive. It was just ridiculous how good it sounded. So it'll sound good with your stock head. If you're going to buy this particular drum head, it's going to sound good with your stock head, but I suggest getting yourself a Resonant head as well to match it. Anyone from Evans will be cool, but particularly, you know, get something thin and couple it with this head, and I'm telling you, your kick drum is just going to come alive. So this thing sounds awesome, and I got a lot of compliments on this bass drum sound when I was on the road. And you can also hear it on a recording, just to give you an idea. I suggest, again, wear headphones when you're listening to these samples. There was hardly anything done to this kick when it was recorded. There's only one mic on it. It's empty. It has a thin ring on the batter side, and that's about it. The Onyx Resonant skins that I have on the toms, they're just a single 7mm skin. I can't really comment much other than the fact that my toms sound great. I generally just use whatever resonant skin comes on the kit. This is my first time actually swapping out the resonant skins themselves. So I don't really have a ton of experience with the resonant heads. All I know is that my toms sound fantastic with those on there. So if you need to change your resonant skin, you know, if you want a bit of a cool aesthetic as well, then if you're gonna get the tops and you got the cash for the bottoms, go ahead and swap them out. I can tell you for sure that this particular combination sounds fantastic. The resonant skin on the bass drum, as I said, I got it from Inked by Evans. It's one of those custom skins, but it's basically an EQ3. So pick up an EQ3 resonant, couple it with this EMAD, and I'm telling you, man, I can say without a doubt that my kick sounded that much better when I coupled this head with the EQ3 on the front. If you have a kick port that you want to stick on there too, it's probably, you know, just gonna bump up that low end just a little bit, but on its own, because I have a kick port here, and I was gonna originally put one on there, but when I heard how good it sounded without it, I'm figuring out why cut the hole bigger just to fit a kick port on there when it sounds that good. So, recap, anyways, if you're looking for a new set of skins, these are fantastic on recording. They're very controlled. You're not going to need any muffling when you use these. They sound amazing in situations where when your kit is not mic'd, so low to medium volume situations, small rooms, whatever. They're going to sound great. They're not going to ring out that long. And because of the fact that they're so controlled, they're going to sound that much better when you mic them up for live. So I can see now why a lot of guys are actually using these Onyx heads in all kinds of different genres, because they work and they sound like a recorded set of drums in almost any environment. So highly recommended. Evans, Onyx, I think you're going to dig them.